2019 was a huge year in Ottawa tech, but few people had better perspective on that than the folks at Invest Ottawa. We've got members of the executive team here to share their highlights from the year that was and what they're looking forward to in 2020. That's this week on Techopia Live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Techopia Live. I'm your host, Craig Lord, the editor here at Techopia. We are back at Bayview Yards in the accelerator space where Invest Ottawa startups are working diligently around us, finishing up the year, heading into the holidays, hopefully on a high note. We are looking back, though, with Invest Ottawa, some of the executives here, on some of the highlights from 2019 and what we can look forward to in 2020. Let me introduce the wide range of guests that I have on the couch next to me. First with Sonia Shori, the Vice President of Marketing, Communications and Strategies here at Invest Ottawa. Next to her, we have Mike Tremblay, the President and CEO of Invest Ottawa. And right next to him, we have Susan Richards, both from our great sponsor, Number Crunch, a partner there, as well as the co-chair of the Invest Ottawa board. So thanks everyone so much for joining us for this recap.
Pleased to be here.
Now, it was a big year in Ottawa tech in a lot of ways, and Invest Ottawa was at the heart of a lot of those. So there are many highlights I want to cover. We'll go over kind of just a casual conversation with everybody what you've been through. But Sonia, why don't you start us off? What was maybe one of your big highlights from 2019?
Oh gosh, I would say the key highlight was the launch of our scale-up platform. So together with Mars Discovery District and Communitech in Waterloo, with critical support from FedDev Ontario, a $52 million proposal with Invest Ottawa that is dedicated to enabling and accelerating the scale-up of great Canadian tech companies and addressing big scale-up hurdles, including client acquisition, sales, revenue generation, and investment acquisition. So here in Eastern Ontario and Ottawa, we secured $16.9 million in support of entrepreneurs that are growing at 15% year over year, helping to accelerate that growth and address some of the specific challenges they have that are very critical to them going into global markets. So whether that's regulatory hurdles, IP challenges, specific go-to-market strategies, or investment segments, we're very excited to be working with our counterparts across Pan-Ontario. And it's the first time that a Pan-Ontario scale-up platform of that type has ever launched. So we are privileged to be supporting so many entrepreneurs, founders, and scaling companies. 30 companies already signed up and registered for that scale-up platform, and we just launched a few months ago. So big credit to Nick Quain and his venture development team for kickstarting that so quickly with our counterparts across the province.
Yeah, and we've seen other programs kind of emerge connected to that. University of Ottawa's Scale-Up Garage program.
Yes.
They had the Startup Garage for the longest time. Now they're going to the next level with this program as well.
That's in fact a really great point. We have 10 partners here in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario supporting our scale-up platform. That includes all our post-secondaries, LSpark, the SaaS-based accelerator in Canada, and the Ottawa Hospital. So together we are creating that next pipeline of scale-ready companies, as well as supporting some of our top scaling companies like UITV, Ascent Compliance, Pinebridge AI, fantastic companies that are driving job and revenue generation in our city.
Yeah, for sure. And even going further back, it's hard to believe, but it was still this year that the L5 test facility launched. Mike, what's been the initial feedback and early results from the L5 testing platform for connected cars?
That's a great question. So I spent a lot of my life on that one. It's gone beyond our expectation in so many ways, and we didn't launch that until literally May earlier this year. There has been testing at the Greenbelt sites, so there's actually two parts to it. One is in Canada, so March and Terry Fox, and that's operational, of course. And then there's the Greenbelt site, which is across from the Nepean Sportsplex. We've had over 475 companies kick the tires, pun intended, and we've had 77 companies actually benefit from the infrastructure that's been actually installed at the site. So a ton of activity, way beyond our expectations. I'm actually leading that work right now. We have functional teams that are active on it. So because it's gone so much further, so much faster than we anticipated, I've kind of grabbed it as lead while we actually build it up and develop it. So overall, I would say this has gone way beyond expectation, not just about domestic entrepreneurs, But the attraction we've had with companies that are multinationals, the big OEMs, we've had so much coverage that are, from military to first responders. Example would be we had the chief of the Canadian Chiefs of Police do a tour of the site. They had a first responders morning that was set up for them. So we had a lot of our industry partners come in and show them the practical application of that platform technology that's been installed. Similarly, we've had the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, which is tied to agriculture. So you can imagine a fully autonomous New Holland combine out using the track. Really, really cool. So when I think about it, the opportunity is not just basic infrastructure, and it's not just cars. It's a wide range of vertical scenarios, including drones. Unmanned systems can come in many different forms. So overall, we're thrilled with where that one is, and I think if we watch closely over the next year, you're going to see a lot more happening in that site. So I personally believe that the Ottawa L5 program showcases the best of Ottawa to the world. I really believe that. It brings together our history of telecommunications companies, embedded software companies, hardware companies, the very best of our city and our region. We get to display that to the world through our foreign direct investment and trade team, our global expansion team. I would say that's the number one area that we talk about when we do trade missions, because it's just such a sticky idea to attract investment back to our region. So overall, just brilliant. It's been an amazing year.
Yeah. I mean, anecdotally, I talked to a lot of companies around Ottawa. I have heard about how they're using the L5 site, and that's kind of one of the interesting story threads to follow this year is all the different ways that it's touching. Talking to Jason Lee from SmartCone just this week, and talking about how they're including L5 in their pitches to companies to say, go with us because look at what we have at our disposal in our backyard. So, and a very interesting, I guess, part of the environment here in Ottawa that people are actually leveraging, and an interesting one to hear about. So, I guess congrats on an interesting reveal there, and one of the ones that we should be watching, I think, going forward to see who comes to L5, what technology emerges from this. That's great. Around the same time, going back to earlier in the year, we had our very first International Women's Week, or official slate of programming across the city there. Susan, I know that's been a priority of yours, is increasing diversity ever since you took on the co-chair role at Invest Ottawa. Tell us about what that event and what those initiatives have been like this year.
Yeah, so it was really overwhelmingly successful as far as igniting the ecosystem to come together. We had 22 partners throughout the city that participated. Sonia really led this out of Invest Ottawa and did a quick call to action to all the ecosystem partners that we have, and programming. We filled the week was tremendous. We've already got, for 2020, we've got 52 partners now. So going from 22 to 52, there's going to be something for every woman to participate in, from a leadership standpoint, from an entrepreneurship standpoint, and it's just one of the things that we can do here. I love also within Invest Ottawa that we're threading through diversity in all of the programming that we're doing. So everything that's coming out, scale up programs, the new programming, the pre-accelerator are helping to widen that funnel. So it's not just certain people that are going to benefit from the programming. It's cascading to a lot of diverse individuals who have come to entrepreneurship from a different history, and that have the ambitions and the goals to really scale. So we're trying to increase that net, and International Women's Week is a really great vehicle for being able to do that and to help women understand what's available to them in the city at Invest Ottawa, as well as throughout the community. So a lot of great resources. Really pleased with the progress so far. It's a journey. There's a lot more to do. We recognize that, but it's a lot of passion and effort going into it from a lot of individuals.
Yeah. And you mentioned obviously it is a journey, it's continuing on. How do we measure success in this area? Are there certain metrics you have in mind, or Invest Ottawa specifically is tracking when it comes to, actually upping the representation of women and minority founders? And
absolutely. So everywhere from the intake, so for example, the pre-accelerator, we've had 4 cohorts now. I think the 2 of them have actually had parity. Five now. Wow.
Yes.
See, the year, it's too much. It's exciting. There's so much going on. So we're looking for parity within those pre-accelerator, and we're measuring at each of the levels. So the accelerator, we're measuring from a jobs created standpoint, different aspects of leadership in an organization, founded versus led. So basically starting to capture all of the data, and admittedly, you'd think it would be easy to track this information. It's actually very challenging. So from a privacy standpoint, from what's traditionally been accepted from an HR standpoint, Canadians have a hesitation about disclosing this information about their organization. So we have to inspire and encourage them to, so that we can continue to be able to hold ourselves accountable for influencing it. But we're not also trying to influence the organizations that we're servicing. It's also the makeup of those. We touch them very early on, so influencing that even consider diversity within their organizations and giving tips. So I can tell you, just even from my own experience, I have learned a lot through this journey about even job postings, how to craft them in a way that you attract diverse individuals, and then what you need to do inside your organization to make sure you have belonging and inclusivity, so that once you've hired, you've been a welcoming environment and get the best results from all the team that you have. So there's, I'm even carving my own words here. I'm struggling to find the right words because everything is really such a new learning. But as a community, we're trying to lead by example here, because this stuff is stuff that really hasn't quite been done across the country yet. So
the pre-accelerator, in fact, has had 8 of the 10 winners that are women. So it's amazing, and we are very close to parity, in fact, across the 5 cohorts, and this is a hugely successful program that helps entrepreneurs who are very early stage with an idea to build a solid business foundation. The type of pipeline that we want to build through all the founders that we serve here at Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards, we want that diversity and richness from absolutely every perspective. So that's probably the biggest goal that we're focused on in the near term, is building a pipeline of diverse founders from absolutely every background, women and men. Our talent initiative, which is another really exciting highlight of this past year, is also dedicated on those goals. So we recognize that companies in our ecosystem are challenged to attract, retain, and grow top talent. So we've launched a new initiative, again with the support of the city and FedDev Ontario, the opportunity to create a customized program that's targeted to certain types of roles, packaging it up with mentorship, attraction tools that are AI-based, that allow us to source top talent from around the world with Canadian roots, specifically roots here in Ottawa, that we can help to attract back. So why be employee number 10,000,006 at Google when you can come and be a top executive here at one of our great growing tech firms? And they're applying those same principles for diversity and inclusion into all the mentorship, the recruitment, the attraction and development tools and approaches that they're using. So we've seen 14 hires in just a few months with the launch of that program just this past summer.
It's actually 16 as of today.
16 as of today.
Mike's up on all the numbers
I know,
at this point.
my colleagues are on top of it.
We have 27 beta companies now. We have 16 hires, and these are all out of region. These are international hires. We're making the pie of talent bigger in Ottawa.
Yes. Critical challenge that faces all of the companies that you speak to in the city. So we're very excited about that.
One that I've heard about quite a lot is where do we find the people? We don't want to take from other
Poach
companies.
From our own, exactly. So we're looking for expats.
So like you phrased there, building the pie. That's an interesting way to put it. That's the size of that total. And speaking of adding people, running out of room potentially, Bayview Yards itself. We might be looking at an expansion in the coming years or so. That just went through council, got the thumbs up from Jim Watson and the rest of the councillors here. Mike, what does that look like, a potential expansion to this facility where the startups that Invest Ottawa incubates and has to accelerate? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we actually did in our board meeting earlier this year, we got approval from our board to proceed with an expansion physically here on the footprint that we have right around Bayview. It's going to be roughly 6,400 square feet. It'll allow us to add 87 seats of companies that can actually build their businesses. As you can see looking around here, we're pretty packed. And I'm thrilled with that. So all of the programming we have here, the companies that we have here, the government entities that we have here, everyone is here to drive that collaboration that you're looking for innovation to happen. It's that creative juice, a thing that you're looking for. And so adding 87 seats in a facility snapped and connected to this building is just super exciting. But I think the long-range potential on this site is also very good. As the light rail staging area that's here at Bayview retracts back to the station, more and more space will open up for us to do more. I know that there's been 2 reviews at Fedco looking at this staple of land, which is city property, to looking at providing more of an innovation agenda, so they call it Innovation Village. I would say over the next year we'll find out what the conclusion of that is. There'll be public consultation that happens, but there's 16 acres of land here, which is super unusual in a city of our size. And what I think most of our citizens won't know is Bayview Station is the central station for the entire system. And that's because the old rail corridors for the city are just around the corner at City Centre. And so you'll be able to go straight to the airport from here, east, west, north, south. There's even an old rusted corridor into Gatineau, which eventually we hope to see hook up to Gatineau. So this particular site is a very attractive location for the purpose of innovation. And so the short-term expansion is really needed. It should be online in 13, 14 months. We're going through the final design details now. It'll be an aggressive amount of work to make it happen, but we're all really excited about what that's going to open up for the city. Lots of great support to get here, and great support from our board. Susan's leadership, the mayor's leadership, the entire board has been very supportive. We looked at so many different possibilities. The one we're landing on is the right one. So very, very pleased with that.
Yeah, and it's intuitive, kind of what you're describing there, to be right next to a line that with phase 2 will reach right to the airport. You can land executives and then bring them right here via the train. That's a really interesting proposition that I haven't heard talked about, but it makes a lot of sense when you hear it, right? So interesting stuff. We're running a little bit out of time, but maybe I want to just go down the line one more time. What are you looking forward to in 2020? What are the companies or the sectors or Invest Ottawa programming that you're most keen about heading into the new year? I'll start with you, Sonia.
So when I look at our strategic plan that Mike brought in 3 years ago, we're going to be refreshing that strategic plan, and it really is all about enabling market-led innovation. Whether you look at the Ottawa L5 and connected autonomous vehicles, smart health, and the work we're doing with the Ottawa Hospital, our female founders and women-owned business subcommittee, it is all about supporting entrepreneurs and founders and those scaling businesses, helping them to generate greater growth, greater revenue, customers, investment. That all generates economic benefit in our region. So I'm excited about market-led innovation and the tremendous tipping point we are at with the strategic plan that Mike set with us, and all the collaboration. It takes a village. There are so many organizations, founders. We're very grateful to our board, to our team, and all of our partners and founders, of course.
Awesome.
I'll try to be incremental, but I love that. I love that answer, because really what we've been doing these last 2 years is executing a plan. We've just completed our second full year of execution. The third year is the charm, and so what we're looking to do in this next year is to take the whole thing into overdrive. And what I love about our team is we got together and said, I think we could do more. And so doing the refresh in the plan is going to allow us to take it to that next level of detail, which is, I think, going to bring a lot of value to the city. One thing I'd add to what Sonia had indicated, so there's the market-led initiatives, there's also service lines. So we're adding a lot more service delivery capability. Our prototyping lab is extremely capable, and they fill a void that the market here really doesn't cover, which is those very early stage companies that have a big idea and that they want to be able to take that idea and either physically show it off, which our makerspace provides, or digitally show it off, which our digital media lab component of that prototyping site does. So having the value-added services catalog, having a very seamless experience for that is important to us. Similarly, within our Ottawa L5 site, we're going to have value-added services that are part of a service delivery catalog. So it's kind of tied to market-led, but it's also very connected to our work as an organization, the value we can provide and drive out there. So I'm very pleased with where we are, but we're never satisfied. Next year is going to be a very big year for us. You'll see the full execution of our strat plan, and we're going to move it to that very next level, which I think is going to be amazing. Awesome. Final piece I'll say is our global expansion team is super active worldwide. So when we talk about healthcare, we talk about the autonomous vehicle programming, a lot of the GovTech activities that we do, which are fairly focused on defense and security these days, because we have so much capability here. We are selling that every day in global markets with our global expansion team. They are working tirelessly. Because our strat plan is so vertically focused, it allows us to carry a message in a very direct way that I think resonates. For a city of 1 million people, I think we get more air share than others do because we're so focused.
Yeah.
So those are the things that resonate for me in terms of what's ahead.
Yeah, but very, very good to bring up the global expansion team. So we didn't even get to touch on
differentiator for us.
The trip to Holland. Jean-Michael Schall joining the team to lead that this year. So obviously big things coming for that team as well in 2020. And of course, Susan Richards. Can we end on you? What are you keen for next year?
Sure. I think the only thing different that I can say is that these folks are working so tirelessly to decide how to seed the environment, what to apply, the programming, and I think 2020 we're going to really see the blooms of that. So we see it around here today. The place is full of entrepreneurs that are making an impact, and I think we're going to have a lot of news-making stories happening in 2020 that are a direct result of this. It takes years for all this activity to really have an impact that the everyday public can see and feel and hear. So I'm really excited for those conversations because I'm certain it's going to be a busy year that way.
I am keen for more news-making stories. So if you folks on the couch want to keep producing those, I'd be more than pleased to be reporting them.
Headlines, Greg.
And our companies punch above their weight.
But yeah, exactly. Very great to have all three of you here because, like I said at the top here, Invest Ottawa has a really interesting perspective from the heart of the tech community, I think. And you almost put it physically at this point when you're talking about the rail lines intersecting here. So great to have all these perspectives brought for our audience, and obviously heading into 2020, let's keep chatting. Let's keep finding out where we can go from here. So thank everyone.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, before I let you go, I want to take a quick moment and thank some of our sponsors, without whom Techopia Live would not be possible. I want to start with TD Bank, offering specialized programs for tech firms. There's Pearlie Robertson, Hill & McDougall, a leader in business and tech law. There's the University of Ottawa Faculty of Engineering, creating the next generation of technical talent. There's Stratford Managers, offering services to help you scale up your tech venture. There's KRP Properties, offering so much more than just space. And of course, we had Susan here today from Number Crunch, offering virtual CFO services for SaaS firms. Now, Techopia is not just this fantastic show. We are also available online with daily articles covering Ottawa's tech scene at obj.ca/Techopia. Follow us on social, on Facebook and Twitter, at Techopia OTT. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please leave us a like and a comment and subscribe if you want to see more of our weekly tech interviews. Also, check out the first issue of the OBJ News magazine coming out in January, where you can see our tech firms to watch. There are a couple Invest Ottawa connections in there, so a bit of a teaser, but go check out the 4 firms that we are watching in 2020. Apart from that, I just want to thank you very much for joining us for this week's episode of Techopia Live. We will see you in the new year for the next episode of Techopia. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.